Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion. We'll start with 4.02. We'll need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? No. Mrs. Beto, that passes. 4.03 is next, approval of Board of Education meeting minutes from April 7th, 2016.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor reply by saying yes.
Yes.
Anyone no? Okay, Mrs. Beto, good with that one. We're on 501, patron comments, and we do have one patron comment tonight. So let me read this first. Addressing the board. At every regularly scheduled board meeting, citizens may make a statement or address the board concerning issues pertaining to the Rockwood School District. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. In practice of a large group, I have to say that there's not a large group tonight, there's only one person. Usually would allow 5 minutes. To address the board, complete a blue patron card, which this person has done. And citizens will be called to the lectern by the board president, in this case the board vice president, to make comments. The board values and appreciates your taking the time to provide your comments. The general practice of the board is not to respond to your comments at this time, except to ask for clarification if needed. If appropriate, the district will provide a written response within a reasonable period of time. Please note that matters related to employee negotiations, legal issues, real estate, personnel, and student matters are reserved for board discussion during closed session. So we do have a patron comment card from Susie Matthew, First Executive Advisory Board member and FTC partner from Missouri. Good evening. Have a seat.
Thank you. And thank you for having this forum so I can speak to you all and let you hit it. I'd like to hit on 3 main points. First and foremost, if Kim Litzow had not let me know this was happening, I might have found out from my sister and crashed it. But I wanted to make you aware of some very interesting facts that perhaps the students won't tell you. The World Championships for FIRST are here next week. We take over the Edward Jones Dome. I know its name will change. America Center, Union Station, and this year the Peabody Opera House with 40,000 people for STEM activities from around the world. And so the fact that the Bosons are participating in FTC is not just by chance. Rockwood started the robotics program with FRC with the team at Lafayette, and I know Doug Rohr is here and was part of that, and kids had to be bussed in for this. Now you have FTC teams, high school level programs, at all of your high schools. The Bosons and the other teams had to win at a qualifier. They had to win at state. They had to go up to Iowa and win at a super regional, and now they're coming here back home to represent them at the World Championship. It's a really big deal. I'm sorry I missed the KMOV feature that was on tonight. What they do in your school district is amazing because our success is going to rest in these kids' hands. I look at being 63, and I was the first volunteer for FIRST way back when in 2000. Someday I'm going to need a new knee or hip, and one of these robotics medical experts is going to be the one that's going to help design that so that it lasts a lifetime. But also, Rockwood is doing something more than just inwardly focusing on this. Your district hosts a qualifier for the FTC level, thanks, and excuse me if I mispronounce this, to Dr. Anselmo every year, where students from all over come and compete. You welcome Girl Scout teams into your district to participate in robotics at the FLL level. In short, what you're doing is the right thing for our future. These kids, and I'm going to pick on two of them. A young man named Travis Mangini opened my eyes to something very special. He's a graduate of Rockwood Summit. We held a competition down in Cape Girardeau in a place called the AC Brace Arena that was not handicap accessible. A friend on the team was wheelchair bound and couldn't make it up the flight of steps to judging. Travis wrote, my time up, a full-page letter to the chancellor, copied me, and the chancellor turned around and said, I'm giving you the Show Me Center, and it'll be charged to my budget. It's accessible, etc. Travis, I hope, is coming back to student teach in the Rockwood School District and is part of our robotics committee for the state of Missouri. And there's another young man, I have my eye on, Zach Rawls, who's still competing, but we've invited him to be a part of it. And why? Because you're giving back to more than just the kids in your school district. You're giving back to the entire community. That's all I have to say. Thanks, everyone that I've met at Rockwood. You're doing an amazing job, and I appreciate the chance to speak to you.
Thank you very much.
I think Susie Matthew.
Do we have a question?
She got out of her. I knew her. Susie, you're the person I knew with the Blues. You worked for the Blues, right?
Yes, that's why I'm speaking out.
When you were a young girl? Well, I was involved with Mystics.
We're trying to do the same thing.
Well, congratulations. Thank you for keeping involved with these kids. I'm trying to keep involved with them too. Good luck to you. We got to get home and listen to that game tonight.
All right.
Good luck to you. Nice seeing you. She was a young girl.
All right, moving right along, although I don't know if we can top that one. That was good. 6.01, Superintendent and Board Comments. Dr. Knost.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good
Dr.
evening, Dr. Knost.
A couple of neat things to report around the school district. Baldwin Elementary School was chosen as one of 50 schools nationwide to receive free books for their students through Scholastic's Be a Reading Superhero Educator Contest this week. I know there's some folks that are real excited about that, and that's a pretty neat thing. One of 50 schools nationwide. Congrats to Baldwin. U.S. News and World Report reviewed more than 28,500 U.S. public schools this year, as they do all years, and 2 Rockwood high schools were named to its best high schools list. This year, Marquette ranked 5th best high school in Missouri, and Lafayette ranked the 7th, both earning silver awards from the publication. The schools were also ranked on the U.S. News and World Report national list. That's really exciting. I always feel compelled to say that these various kinds of national things come out looking at different criteria, and sometimes it's these 2 schools, sometimes it's these 2 schools, sometimes it's all schools, and we just need to keep that in mind. It's definitely worth celebrating and acknowledging, but I usually get this followed up with questions of, well, how come those 2 schools and how come not these 2 schools? And I can show you other examples where it's these 2 schools and not these 2 schools, so we just need to keep that perspective at the same time, be honored that we have schools almost always listed in those national rankings. It's very, very cool, and it's because of kids like these that get us there. Rockwood Summit student Lexi White, such a neat kid, interviews me all the time for the radio station down there and their newspaper. Lexi won the Quill and Scroll International Writing Contest in the features category. Her story was called SAT Savior, an incredible true story of another Rockwood student at Rockwood Summit who saved a girl's life during the SAT over the summer last year. Lexi's a really, really neat kid, and congrats to her. She's very deserving. She's got some other things that have been going on with her that she's been getting recognized, and some honors that she gets to travel to DC and all kinds of things. And I think she's only a sophomore.
I think so.
She's only a sophomore. Congrats to Rockwood South student Lauren Peroni. She was chosen as the Missouri State Ambassador for Fuel Up to Play 60. She will head to Purdue University in July to be trained in leadership, communication, and program elements, which she can bring back to Rockwood and the entire state of Missouri. Congratulations to Lauren, pretty big accomplishment there. If you are looking for something to do this weekend, don't forget the annual Rockwood School District Art Show. Unbelievable, Saturday and Sunday, unbelievable art show. If you've never been, here's the challenge. Carve out an hour, even carve out 30 minutes, and then I challenge you to not be overwhelmed when you walk into to the art show and just see just this phenomenal work all through the building. But please hear, it is salvage. In years past, at least most recently, it's been at Wildwood Middle School, and that's a change. So Saturday and Sunday all day at Salvage Middle School, definitely worth a trip there. More than 10,000 pieces of student art, 10,000. And while you're at it, another very, very good cause. I hope to see, I know that I'm going to see some of these people there. Rockwood Summit, April 23rd. Rockwood Relay for Life. By the way, that is Saturday and Sunday, April 23rd and 24th. Which is this Saturday.
What time does that start? I
Yes.
thought 12:30.
12:30. Dr. Canals,
12:30.
what time does it start?
The art show.
12:30. Right in there.
I really don't know.
I wrote
Do
it
you know?
down. It's
for sure?
12:30. It's 12:30.
It is 12:30.
12:30. It's on the last page, if you notice it.
Okay. It's not on mine.
Noon to 3:30. Mrs. Litzow confirms,
All right.
it's noon to 3:30.
Very good. We've got that. So Relay for Life.
Down where you live.
Another very, very worthy cause. Rockwood Summit, April 23rd, starts at 6 p.m. and goes all through the night until 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. the next day. And I think the last I heard, they had 46 teams. Their goal was to get 50. I don't think it's too late. I think you can still...
Show up and watch.
Yeah, or just show up and walk.
Be
And
on my team.
a lot of festivities,
Team
great
up.
event. Last year they were not blessed with weather. It was freezing cold last year. It was a little earlier. It's going to be much nicer, and Relay is just such a great cause. So I hope to see you all there. And yes, those are all of my announcements. But I do like to announce when we have administrative hires in closed session, and tonight the Board of Education did approve our new Crestview Middle School principal because Dr. Patel is moving on to higher position in another district. We definitely bid her a fond farewell when the time comes, but we are announcing Dr. Gary Jansen, the principal of Crestview Middle School. Dr. Jansen, you're blending in. There you are. Tell you just a little bit about Dr. Jansen. He's currently serving as the principal of Hazelwood East Middle School, a role he has held since 2010. Prior to that, Gary was the associate principal at Hazelwood East High School from 2004 to 2010. In addition, he has 6 years of classroom experience as a middle school science teacher for Hazelwood Middle School. Dr. Jansen earned his doctorate from Maryville University in educational leadership. His master's degree is in curriculum and instruction from National Louis University in Wheeling, Illinois. His bachelor's degree is in elementary education from the University of Missouri St. Louis, and he received his administrative certification from Lindenwood University. And a couple of years back, Dr. Jansen was also the middle school principal of the year. Yeah, voted in by his other colleagues and peers in the middle school field. So congrats to him. We're really excited to bring him on board, and we know that everyone will welcome him. So thanks for being here, Dr.
I'm good. Any board comments?
I do. I just wanted to thank all of the families and children that came out tonight. I know that some of you mentioned that some of you weren't going to Worlds, but I hope that I know firsthand how much effort you put into it and how much time it takes and how much teamwork, and it's just because you're not advancing to Worlds does not mean that your effort was in vain. Please take everything that you were able to experience and take that and use it and apply it in your life. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy. And especially, I know the parents, it's not easy. I did it last year, it's not. So, just because you're not going to get, a medal or whatever, that doesn't matter. You guys had an awesome experience. so.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
I have something to say. I've been on this board for a few years and I've really enjoyed my time here, but due to circumstances beyond my control, my family and I are going to be relocating to Florida next week. So this will be my last board meeting, and I want to tell everybody thank you very much for everything. I've really enjoyed all the time I've spent on the board, and I know that this group of people has in their hearts what it says on the creed there, that you do whatever it takes for every student to make them successful. So I appreciate everyone's help in my experience on the board, and I just want to thank you all for that.
Thank you. See if there's anyone.
You want to see before I make a comment?
I know I want to say something. Rob, it's been an absolute privilege. We just found out about this today. And there's a lot of things I think people should be in their lives, but being a good guy is one of the most important things. And you are in that category. So I wish you and we all wish you and your family, well in Florida, but you'll be very missed in Fenton and here on the board.
Thank you.
Got the call from Rob, and of course you want to be happy for him and the adjustment and the change he's making in his life, but hate to see him go. It's such a good board member, Rob. Your example of humble representation and leadership is just unmatched, and I've heard a lot of people say that, and I witness that all the time. Also, want you to know that Rob is such an advocate for special education, and we'll miss that, what you bring to the board with your voice for special education as well. So it was last minute, and we usually like to give our board members a sending, and we couldn't put too much together, but we were able last minute to get you the traditional board member recognition plaque.
Yeah, thank you very much. I did only call him at like 10 o'clock this morning, so that's pretty amazing. So,
Now, when you get texts from board members that say, "Can I call you?" you get a little nervous. But I had no idea that was what he was calling about. Just also a little procedural information, because we just found this out and it's within 24 hours, we don't have this as an agenda on our board agenda tonight. We can't change agendas. We can't add to agendas within 24 hours. It has to go with what's posted. So we're just doing this in the comment section, and then we'll have it on the agenda at the next meeting to discuss the process, which is an application process because it's outside of the election cycle. So there will be an application process similar to what we did when we first met Rob, and then followed by that Herman. So we'll hear more about that procedurally, how we do that on May 5th.
Checking on the Rose Sunday, that's next week.
Everybody good? Dr. Kinder?
Rob, with all the compliments that you're on your way tonight, I just have one question. What high school did you graduate from?
I think it was Eureka.
Eureka, yes, I thought so, thank you.
But all my kids graduated from Summit.
All right, anyone else? See, folks, we do have fun at board meetings.
Come back next time.
That's right. Just be happy when you come back. You upset? All right, so next we'll move on to our consent agenda items, and I need a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, reply by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. All right, Mrs. Beadle, that passes. Now we're on 8.01, maybe a surprise, but we're going to talk about robotics in Rockwood. So we have a student-led presentation, which I think all of us on the board enjoy immensely. This is like one of the best parts about our job. So Supervisor of Partners in Education, Kim Litzow, if you could come forward with the Rockwood High School robotics team, the Bosons, a private team of students from the Fenton area called the Pink Pandas. I bet you can figure out which ones they are in the back of the room. And two teams LaSalle Springs Middle School, RoboCats and Technical TARDIS, to give a demonstration on robotics. Welcome.
So they're obviously the main show here. I'm just going to sit back behind them. So Dr. Canos, Vice President Mondo, and members of the Rockwood Board of Education, thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you this evening about robotics. Every team here this evening, all the ones you saw over there and the 3 sitting here, participate in FIRST Robotics. FIRST is an international robotics program with 4 levels of competition. We have students participating in 3 of the 4 levels. At the elementary level, we have teams participating in junior FLL, so that's junior first Lego League. The middle school level is FLL, so first Lego League, and we have 10 high school teams participating in FTC. FRC are the bigger robots, they're about $10,000 to $15,000 each. We chose to have more teams with the smaller robots. At the high school level, we have 3 robotics teams at Eureka, 3 at Lafayette, 3 at Marquette, and 1 at Summit. In the high school robotics teams, we touch more than 150 students. All robotics teams have a similar structure, FLL and FTC, in that students direct the learning. Mentors and coaches support them, but it's really students who build the robot, program the robot, and strategize their playing. It is a great example of experiential learning. You knew I was going to have to say that. So a key component of each team are adult mentors, and those are the volunteers. We have coaches on the high school teams, but we also have adult mentors. Several of them are here this evening. I'd like them to stand and be recognized, if they're not already. There we go. The adult mentors bring with them real-world experience to guide our students in planning, designing, and construction. So for this high school season, just so you know, 5 out of our 10 teams progressed to the state championship. Of those, 2 teams from Eureka, the Bosons and the Quarks, advanced to super regionals in Cedar Rapids, Iowa over spring break. So we had teachers and kids giving up their spring break to go to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and it wasn't too cold, but it did snow. The Bosons advanced from that competition to the World Championship, and that will be held here from April 27th to the 30th at Union Station. I do hope that some of you guys will be able to come down and enjoy that experience. This evening, we have representatives from 3 teams. Each of these students would like to share with you just some information about their experience in robotics. I'm going to introduce them, and then I'm going to give them the floor. Josh Ludwig is from LaSalle Springs. Julianne Barwick is from Rockwood South Middle, and Colin Luft is from Eureka High School. So Josh, why don't you go ahead and start?
Good evening, Rockwood School Board members. My name is Josh Ludwig, and I'm an 8th grader at LaSalle Springs Middle School. I'm here to tell you about LaSalle Springs First Lego League teams and my personal experiences in participating in First Lego League for the past 2 years. Each year, First Lego League releases a challenge which is based on a real-world scientific problem. Each challenge has 3 parts: the robot game, the project, and the core values. For the past 3 years, LaSalle has had 2 teams of 10 middle schoolers, along with 4 teacher coaches who have participated in the challenge. The challenge consists of programming an autonomous robot to score on the themed playing field, develop a solution to a problem the team has identified for their project, all guided by the First Lego League core values, which is the teamwork component of the challenge. The LaSalle Springs middle school teams have attended an official tournament each year, hosted by our First Lego League partners. Several of our teams have won presentation awards for Best Project Presentation and Core Value Awards for teamwork. First Lego League is a powerful program that allows young people to discover the fun in science and technology while building self-confidence and knowledge and life skills. This year the topic was called Trash Truck. Our team was challenged to identify a problem with the way we handle our trash. We then had to design an innovative solution to our problem and share our problem and solution with others. We chose to look at the amount of trash, plastic forks, spoons, and knives produced in our Rockwood lunchrooms. In our research, we found by replacing plastic with metal reusable silverware, we could reduce the amount of trash guaranteed and save money at the same time. We shared our solution with the school administration and Dr. Canos. I have learned a lot through the 2 years in FLO, such as listening to everybody's ideas and taking them into consideration, learning how to share a robot amongst 5 to 10 people at once, and doing research as a team. This has affected me because I do not play any sports, and this gives me an idea, an opportunity or an idea to be on a competitive team. I also do this because I am interested in autonomous robots and plan to do robotics in high school. Being on this team has been fun because we like to have fun and we are serious at other moments. Robotic programming is a trial and error method which kind of teaches patience and persistence. We would love for FLO to be a program that is offered in all of our middle schools and for the Rockwood School Board to consider making these opportunities even more available to our students through funding of the FLO program. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Julianne Farg. I am a 6th grader at Rockwood South Middle School. I'm a member of the Pink Programming Pandas, a first LEGO League team. I was first exposed to LEGO Mindstorms at CCL. Several years later, my mom, our current head coach, learned about FLL at work and asked me if I wanted to be on our robotics team. I was ecstatic and gave an enthusiastic yes. At this time, I was in 4th grade. We looked around at Callison Elementary, and there weren't enough kids interested to form a team. We then looked at Stanton Elementary and found more students who were interested. The students at Stanton knew several students at Utah Valley, and together we had enough students to form a team. The skills we have learned are skills that are important for elementary school students to learn before they reach middle school. The top 10 skills we have learned are 1. Leadership. 2. Gracious professionalism. 3. Robot building. 4. Conflict resolution. 5. Problem solving. 6. Engineering. 7. Programming. 8. Public speaking. 9. Creativity. And 10. The ability to stay positive when our situation isn't so great. These skills are invaluable to elementary schoolers, which is why we think that elementary school students should have an opportunity to be on a robotics team.
First, I'd like to begin by thanking the Rockwood Board of Education for allowing me the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Colin Lufts. I'm representing the Rockwood FTC Robotics Program and Team 3658 Bosons. Back in 2003, Rockwood Robotics started with one FRC team. We now participate in the FTC Robotics to allow for more participation and individuality. Each student in the program can have a much bigger and more inclusive role on an FTC team. Now we have 10 FTC teams that have all been very successful. And for 7 years, the Bosons have been inspiring students to reach their full potential through community service, technical outreach, and robotics competition. This season was not an easy season. We faced challenge after challenge throughout the year, and we responded beautifully every time we encountered adversity. In early September, we realized that it was going to be an extremely complicated game, with many more technical challenges and aspects that needed to be accounted for than we initially thought. In December, we lost in the semifinals of our first competition due to a few technology errors, and therefore had to spend time over the next few weeks resolving the issue. In February, we were very fortunate to qualify for the Missouri State competition. There, the team really stepped up, and we gave a great presentation to judges in the morning, which led us to winning the Inspire Award and advanced us to Super Regionals in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. There, we squeaked into the World Championship with a 2nd place in the PTC Design Award, an award we have placed in every competition we've played in this year. We take part in this program because we have a love for the STEM field, and that desire is what fuels us to continue on. It drives us from meeting to meeting so that we can make our robot the best it can be. Everybody that participates in this program has the potential to do great things. Hopefully, we can take the tools that we've developed here in FTC and truly change the world for the better. Being a part of FTC is not just to build a robot that can pick up blocks and balls, but to become more involved in the STEM field and have fun doing something that we love. We want to inspire people to be leaders and engage them in these programs to develop the future scientists and engineers of the world. I'd like to finish by saying how incredibly thankful we are to our mentors, to our coaches, and to the Rockwood School District for the incredible support over the years. We appreciate both the access to facilities and the financial support that has been incredible. We would not be as successful without the continued support from our district, and we are extremely grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, students. So ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the Bosons would like to present you with a commemorative medal from the state championship of the Inspire Award. The Inspire Award is the highest level of achievement at a robotics competitions. The Bosons won this award at the Missouri State Championship.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
You want to wear them?
Where?
You wear them?
That's awesome.
I feel like my intelligence just went up significantly.
So, I'm going to start with some comment.
Is there more? Is there more? There may be.
I'm sorry, is there more?
No, we're
Okay, all right. I wrote a few things down. Listening to everyone's ideas, patience and persistence, professionalism, conflict resolution, public speaking, and change the world. So here are you three sitting here telling us this is what you're learning from here, and I'm sure your colleagues feel the same way. I mean, those are just, I could have been writing down this whole while. Just an unbelievable job. My son was in robotics for 4 years at Summit, and I know how hard you all work, as Director Paul said, and kudos to you. It is a great, great experience. So I'm very proud of all of you. Anyone else?
As a former math teacher, I'm just blown away. I also like science. I wasn't as good in it as math. I want to thank the sponsors or the coaches especially, because I'm guaranteed that was free time that they gave. They weren't paid a penny that I know of, and they weren't rude. Mentor is what I meant.
We have teachers that earn a stipend.
I'm talking about like Mr. Reinhardt, Cooper Reinhardt.
Cooper Reinhardt gets a stipend.
Oh, well, that's minimal, let's put it that way.
He does a great job.
Yes. But for you, all of you, you're very articulate. You know what you were saying, and you believe what you're saying. Will you stay in robotics until you graduate, or is this like a 1-year shot or a 2-year shot? I am curious to see about you or anybody else in the audience. Are you going to stick with it each year?
Well, I'm graduating this year, but I stuck with it through high school, and hopefully I can find something in college that I can that's something similar that I can take part in.
I plan on staying with FLL until I have to go to the higher levels of robotics, and then I plan on continuing there too.
Okay.
I plan on doing robotics in high school.
Yeah. Another piece of that, do you have any careers picked out that are involved in robotics? Or maybe you haven't even thought about that, you're just getting through day by day, but have you thought about, you were talking about a career, but the rest of you thinking that you're going to lean somewhere towards this?
I think I may be an engineer someday, so possibly.
Okay, this would help.
I have not thought about it.
That's okay.
We have a few years left.
I'm still thinking. Yeah. I'm still trying.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to major in computer engineering at Valparaiso University next year, and hopefully that can kind of open up some doors to a future career in the STEM field.
This will help you just for the discipline of it and everything else. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Very good.
I want to ask you all three a question. We started recently in Rockwood, and some of you guys probably you've probably heard this term spark around some of your schools. Some of your schools, you see, we've got some of the kids back there nodding yes. But we started talking as administrators about finding the spark in every student that we have. We have 22,000 students in Rockwood, and we want to slowly build toward finding what the spark is in every child at the earliest age possible. But the idea of spark is that one thing, maybe there's multiple things, but especially that one thing that you're very, very passionate about that makes you connect to school in a way that you otherwise wouldn't. Makes you excited about maybe going to school on certain days, maybe every day. It becomes your real passion. Would you guys, hearing that definition of what spark is, would you say that this has been at least one of your sparks in your time in school?
Yeah.
Something that's kept you going, and even quite possibly, as you're preparing to graduate, maybe even something, a spark that helped lead you down a certain path that you maybe otherwise would have not traveled down, and who knows maybe what other path you would have traveled down. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Thank you for that, and I encourage you guys to hold on to that. And I promise you, the more support is coming. We are going to continue. You heard Ms. Litzow say experiential learning. We're talking more and more about various degrees of experiential learning, and I really envision that education for the 21st century student eventually will be all experiential learning. And this is experiential learning at its finest. And so we're going to continue to find ways to ramp up and support. It may look slow, but that is absolutely our goal. And we just, well, I'm speaking for myself and my team, but I know the board agrees that we just really admire you guys and admire your passion, and for you sticking with this, and absolutely for coming here and sharing this with us tonight. Thank you for that.
Can we make this an annual?
Sure.
Make it an annual?
The revised.
Thank you very much, and I know Mrs. Litzow doesn't want me to say this, but she is a huge part of this whole program. She does a phenomenal job, so stop doing this. Thank you. Well, the next item up may not be quite as exciting, but it's important. 802, Essential Medical Plan for ACA 30-hour employees. So can I have a motion to approve the Essential Medical Plan design and premiums?
So moved. Second.
So we have Lori Roach and Katie Bremley here.
So we hope we can follow that act, but have some important information.
What's your spot?
Did you bring a medal?
So good evening. Thank you for your time tonight. I'm here to talk about the Affordable Care Act and what the district is doing to remain in compliance and to move forward. So the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, was a massive piece of legislation passed back in 2010 that's been slowly implemented through the years. The big portion of the law that's important for employers is called the employer mandate. There's two sections of the employer mandate if you think about it. There's the first part that says you have to offer insurance to employees that work over 30 hours a week on average. And then the second part of the law is that coverage has to be affordable, has to have minimum value, and has to offer minimum essential coverage. So there's a penalty associated with each one of them. Penalty A is failing to offer coverage. Penalty B is failing to make it affordable. And we're required to measure and track all the hours of our employees. So in order for us to continue to be in compliance, our current reality is we offer coverage to those employees who work at a minimum 190 days, which is basically the teacher calendar, and 35 hours a week, which is basically the teacher schedule. So that sets the minimum at where we offer coverage. Since the Affordable Care Act says you have to offer it at 30 hours, there are several more groups of employees that we need to be offering coverage to. So in order to meet that goal, we have created, or we're proposing the board approve an essential medical plan. And you can see what the plan design of this would be. This essential plan will still be self-funded, just like our current plans. It would be administered by our current TPAs, third-party administrators, Cigna for pharmacy, or excuse me, Cigna for our medical and Express Scripts for our pharmacy. It'll have the same networks. It would have the same clinical programs, home delivery, healthy babies, specialty through Express Scripts, Accredo, health coaching, incentive points, wellness offerings. All of those would be the same. The differences are going to be in the cost shares, which you saw in the previous slide, and on the premiums. This plan would start with our new plan year, which starts in November. And we estimate there's about 350 to 400 that would be offered coverage on this plan. So here you can see the premiums for this plan. This plan would be considered affordable under the law, and it would also offer minimum value and minimum essential coverage. So it hits all the components of the law to make us compliant with the penalty D section. Now, these are rates that have been recommended to us from Cigna based on our demographics. So obviously, after we get a year's worth of experience and we can see what the participation is, we'll have to reevaluate it next year at this time. So in summary, we're asking the board to create this new plan so that we can offer it to those employees that we currently do not offer coverage to. The current employees that have our green and tan plans, it wouldn't change anything for them. So we would have a standard level of benefits, which is what we've always known, and this would create an essential level of benefits that we would offer to those employees who work over 30 hours a week that aren't currently offered coverage. Can I take any questions?
Can we go back to the first slide a minute? The first.
This one?
Penalty A, if one person isn't covered, you have to pay $2,160 per all FTEs.
Yes, penalty A is the massive penalty. That is for failing to offer coverage. So what triggers both penalties is an individual will go to the exchange, and if they buy coverage on the exchange and qualify for tax assistance on the exchange, then that's what sets off looking. So if we are correct 95% of the time, we avoid a penalty. But if we are wrong 96% of the time, then we would pay a penalty of $2,000 per all full-time employees for failing to offer coverage to just that one person.
The 2,400, those are only the employees that are eligible, is that right?
That's all the
It's not,
full.
yeah, it's not all 20.
It's per full-time employee, so I'm estimating 2,400 full-time employees.
Teachers, staff, and everything.
Yep, yes. That's the massive penalty of it.
Anybody 30 hours?
Anybody that would be considered full-time under the ACA. So one person triggers it. If we're right 95% of the time, we avoid the penalty. If we're wrong more than that, then that's when it would trigger that massive penalty. That's for failing to offer. Then the second penalty is if we offer it, but it's not affordable, then that is a much smaller penalty, and that's on a per person or per incident basis.
Okay.
I think it's important too to point out, because I'm proud of how we walk through this and analyze this, and we've had some discussion here with the board about it, but there are examples and calculations in some companies that consider the penalties as better options, because the penalties, quite frankly, are more affordable to the employer. And I think we had some examples of where if we went that route, it would have been more affordable to us as well. But we didn't feel that was the right thing to do. We felt that it made more sense to offer a plan and to make sure that we did have coverage. And I just think that there's intricacies to that too. I know Tim kept reminding me in my conversation with him that sometimes when you have a plan, there could be opportunities where if we didn't have a plan, people would go to the exchange and they can get a subsidy for that. And when we have a plan, they can't get.
If we offer coverage, they can still go. Anybody can shop for insurance on the exchange. If that coverage is not affordable, doesn't offer minimum essential value, doesn't have minimum coverage, then and it's not affordable, then we would be charged a penalty of about $270 a month for that one person, or however many people that happened to, if it wasn't affordable.
Right.
Where do they go if they don't like the exchange and we're not affordable? Where do they go next?
There's a lot of different private exchanges.
Oh, private, okay.
I mean, there's a lot of different private insurance. The marketplace, healthcare.gov is one place. I know with our benefit consultants, J.D. Vitero, they've now have a larger corporation that they've have merged with, and they have what's called market link. So any Rockwood employee, whether they're a teacher on a regular insurance, a retiree, somebody who's leaving coverage, or any employee at all, even an employee that maybe works 20 hours a week, they could call this number, and it's a free service they're offering, and that they will get one-on-one help to shop around in the area to help them find a policy that meets their needs for their family, for themselves, and for their budget. So there are it's an industry that's really developing to help people find answers.
Is this all done through the Affordable Care Act?
The Affordable Care Act is what is leading us to have to do these things.
What effect will United Health dropping out this week, not going to affect us any?
I don't know how that will impact Rockwood. I mean, I don't know how that will impact Rockwood because we're offering this coverage. Cigna's our TPA, so I'm not sure that that's going to.
Okay. Any other, sorry, go ahead.
I just want to make one other point that I think is valid for folks to realize, that because I think it would be easy for, and some people will look at this and say, define that as something less than a Cadillac plan for the 30-hour employees. And the thing to note about that, while that's true, to my point earlier, we didn't take the easy way out and just calculate taking a penalty as a way to save money. We devised a plan, and what I often say to people that we have to keep in mind is that it all comes from one pot of money. And so when we negotiate salaries and consider what people are paid, it's a balancing act. I mean, we can surely talk about, I'm using the term Cadillac plan, that's my own terminology, but we can surely talk about something like that, but it's going to come from the same pot of money. So at some point in time, either those negotiated salaries decrease so the insurance pieces can come up, or vice versa. I think it's a really good happy median, again, for lack of a better way to describe it. But I just think it's important for people to understand that there's two ends of the spectrum, and trying to find what works best with the law, with the regulations that are put upon us, and what's good for people. I think this does that.
Okay. Good. Anything else? All right, so the motion is to approve the essential medical plan design and premiums. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Okay, Mrs. Vito, that passes. Thank you, ladies. Okay, next up, 8.03, resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of an equipment lease purchase agreement with respect to the acquisition, purchase, financing, and leasing of school buses and certain equipment related thereto. Oh boy, so that was a motion. Do I have to repeat the whole thing?
So moved.
Thank you. Second. Tim Rooney.
That was obviously not a title that I put on here, but this is just in order to set up the lease purchase or the financing of the buses. And it includes the buses, the radios, the two-way radios on the buses, the cameras, and the GPS systems. All that is part of that. And we also have some minor lot and facility upgrades included in that as well. So what we did is, of course, we got some really great prices on the buses, as we've talked about before. But we also went out and did a bid on the interest rates, and we got, and this is a little bit of a special. This has to be qualified under the lease purchase statutes, but we got about bids from about 10 banks, and the lowest bank was 1.6496% for a 10-year loan, which is excellent. And of course, that is a reflection of our AAA bond rating status. So that was one of the key factors. The total amount financed to be about $12,500,000. The $1,358,000, which is our annual lease payment. We decided to go ahead and make that in monthly payments because the interest rate, or the total amount of interest that the district would pay would be lower if we pay monthly as opposed to annual. So we set that up over 12 months. The $1,358,000, which Dr. Cano's mentioned several times, is included in our analysis when we talk about the amount of annual expenditures that we'll be making for the transportation system. We include that in our numbers, and it's more competitive than the other route that we would have gone had we just renewed the current lease. And so with that, I would urge you to approve this resolution. And our first group of buses will have to make payment on May 27th when the first group come in. So we'll have to make periodic payments as those come in. So we'll probably have a closing date just a few days before that.
Tim, are these buses all being manufactured in the same location, or are they coming from different parts of the country, or what?
From the same location, but honestly, I haven't asked that question as to where that is, but.
Yeah, I don't know either. For some reason, I think it's Texas.
Maybe so.
I think they're actually manufactured.
They drive them all up, I guess.
Yeah, there's actually one on the lot. I don't know if you've shared that picture yet, but.
No, I did not yet.
Oh, okay. I just got a picture of one of them that already has Rockwood on the side. But we'll have more of them coming, but I don't know where they're coming from.
It's not all flamboyant or anything. I mean, it's just, it's just your block
Pictures of the school
lettering.
board.
No, it's silhouettes.
Yeah, the seats.
We're gonna maybe wrap the buses at a later time. It's exciting for us, and I think when we were at President's Forum, was that yesterday? I don't know, whatever that was. I talk about this and I always get some laughter, but I keep envisioning, and we're kind of trying to sort of set up this opportunity for this convoy to drive in and populate our lot at a certain time. And we have to put a little effort into that because we'll get them technically in waves. And of course, first students' buses will be there until the school year is done. But it's just kind of a neat thing to think about all these brand new Rockwood buses, which nobody has ever seen.
Can they drive through the Parkway District to get here?
Sure. I was communicating with a retired teacher that was teaching when I was teaching in the district, and he was telling me how proud he was of the decision that we were going. And I didn't realize this, but he said that the year he was hired was, he remembers that was a big deal because they were going away from in-house because they thought that it would save money. I think it was 1980 is what he said, but he said that was either the last year or just been the last year that the district went away from it. So it's interesting how things go, but it's a neat thing, and we're going to try to stage that to some degree. If we have to make it totally fake, we won't do it, but if we can just get all the buses to arrive at the bus lot, or the majority of it at the same time, and we'll be out there cheering. I don't know if the rest of the district will come out, but it could be fun. We're going to have Dave Cobb
It'd be fine
barbecue.
if it was fake, right?
It's a good barbecue.
It's fine.
All right.
Tim, is that 1.6? It's probably a stupid question. That is a fixed rate. That's not a variable rate, is it?
It's fixed. It's not a stupid question, but it is fixed. Yeah.
It's fixed all the way through.
Now, the one provision that says that we have to make all the we don't pay, every one of them had a little bit different terms. This one had some pretty favorable ones. One is the interest starts accruing as we start making installments. Some of them, just as soon as we made the first installment, the interest started accruing. But they do have a provision that if we don't, if we don't have everything drawn and start interest by the end of June, that we jump up to a little higher rate, but they also said we could go ahead and withdraw it. We're going to be right there. So
okay, good, thank you.
So we're going to take the lower interest rate.
These bonds of ours are tax-free to the holders of the bonds?
General obligation bonds are, but this is a lease purchase, so it's really pretty much like a bank loan. Mm-hmm. They do have bank qualified loans that allow them to be pre-tax, but since we already did one general obligation bond this year, these are not going to be pre-tax.
I see.
All good?
So the lenders are paying taxes on the income from that 2%. Okay.
So imagine what we could have done had they not been bank qualified.
No questions?
Thank you.
Okay, do I have to read the whole motion again?
I think we already
Maybe you should.
Oh, yeah.
Probably should.
That's right, I didn't read, yeah. So the motion on the table is to approve a resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of an equipment lease purchase agreement with respect to the acquisition, purchase, financing, and leasing of school buses and certain equipment related thereto. All in favor, please respond by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Passes, Mrs. Vio. Next up, 8.04, 2015 bond issue purchases and related contracts, $7,500 to $150,000. Do I have a motion to approve the bond issue purchases and related contracts for that amount?
Second.
And we have Tim Rooney and now Mike Schneider.
Mike Schneider.
Yeah, Mike Schneider.
Ready to go? This is a purchase of HVAC rooftop equipment that our staff will replace at 4 different locations: Baldwin Elementary, Chesterfield Elementary, Green Pines Elementary, and Lafayette High School.
Those are all bond issue items, Mike? Okay. Thank you.
Questions? All right, so the motion is to approve the bond issue purchases and related contracts, $7,500 to $150,000 as submitted. All those in favor respond by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Okay, Mrs. Vito, that passes.
I'm
Yes.
sorry that I'm doing this after you did that, but I think it's worth mentioning. We had some questions about the fact that we're installing those ourselves. Can you just for the record, we have so many people here, but just for the written record and the videotape, is that, Mike, is that more normal than some may realize that?
No, not very many districts do that.
Okay.
They usually hire somebody. Essentially, it's lifting it off the roof curb and putting it on and reattaching power and ductwork and that kind of thing.
It's just the attach and the hookup. It's
right.
Yeah, there are a lot of negative things from the economic downturn, but one of the real positive things is that some of the people, you know, when we're talking about our construction bids and we're talking about how many subcontractors are out there, when the economy turned south, a lot of those subcontractors went out to look for other jobs, and we ended up picking up some very qualified people and that are on staff, and we have people that are qualified to do this. The people that were doing this, you know, as subcontractors before that are now on staff. So we're just taking the opportunity on some of the smaller ones to go ahead and set them ourselves and save quite a bit of money, and they've done it before. So I think that's even though a lot of school districts don't do it, most of them are not as large as we are, and we were fortunate enough to actually hire some people that were subcontractors prior.
I think it's a great example of something that maybe would otherwise go unnoticed, but of what qualified staff in certain scenarios can do for you, and that's I think it's a pretty cool thing.
I agree. How much does that end up saving?
I'm sorry?
On average, how much does that cost? Yeah,
I would say it's 50% off. The labor can be as much as the equipment. So, now you have crane rental in there, but that's nothing compared to the labor.
Does that increase our liability insurance when we do this stuff in-house?
I mean, there is more exposure, obviously, but our rates are not based on the fact that our people are doing that.
Good.
Good question. So we already have that motion taken care of, right? Yes. Okay. Yes, we voted. Everything's fine. So next are 2015 bond issue purchases over $150,000. So I have a motion to approve the bond issue purchases and related contracts over $150,000 from Thermal Mechanics, Inc. for district-wide STEM lab renovation FY16 BI 15.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Gentlemen?
This is the pre-purchase of rooftop HVAC equipment for the STEM lab projects at Rockwood, Summit, and Lafayette because of the excessive lead time to produce that equipment so that it arrives on time in the middle of the summer. This gives us the chance to get it done during the summer. If we waited till the summer, there's no way we would have it in time.
So we'll have a bid for the STEM labs coming at a later time, but we needed to go ahead and get these on order so that and it'll be part of their contract.
That's just the rooftop units?
There's a lot of exhaust for the fume hoods and that kind of thing.
Units. That's $2.5 million for 2 of the 4 schools will have to do it, right?
Right. There are a lot of fume hoods, and the fresh air requirements have gone up quite a bit since those buildings were built. So meeting code and making the fume hoods and the HVAC work requires this kind of equipment.
Go back to who the winning bid. Scroll down a little bit. I said 2.5 means 240,000.
Right.
Yeah, I was wondering where you're getting at. You're making me really nervous sitting here thinking.
Former math teacher.
Yeah, there are two major things that changed with regard to this. And one is, it used to be that the hood would push air out and bring air in at the same time. Now you have to have separate units. In addition to that, all the air that you bring in has to be accounted for through the HVAC system. So sometimes that has to be upgraded as well, so.
I feel much better with 242,000.
Yes.
So does he.
I was sweating. I'm thinking, what did I miss?
This is a local contractor.
Yes, Thermal Mechanics is in Chesterfield,
Local.
down the street.
All right, so the motion is to approve the bond issue purchases and related contracts over $150,000 from Thermal Mechanics, Inc. for district-wide STEM lab renovation FY16 BI 15. All those in favor, please reply by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Okay, Mrs. Vito, that passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Proposed agenda for the May 5th, 2016 Board of Education meeting. This is a discussion item. So I guess the reminder is that we will be at Rockwood Summit High School for the recognition awards program at 7 p.m. And Kathy, is this not mostly middle school recognition?
Yeah, majority are middle school.
Okay. And as if we all recall, we've been rotating to the 4 high schools, so this is the 3rd of the 4th. Any other comments about that?
1, 2, 3. We have 3 board members that will not be at the May 5th board meeting, I've just learned. So Laura Lee, Herman,
We
and Rob.
have 3, and we're down 1.
Well, that's one of
Well, 2.
Oh, I was gonna say,
2 plus
whoa.
1.
All right, the important ones will be in.
Yeah.
So the other 4, you need to.
Somebody wants to drive out and pick up my son from school, I'll give you my keys.
That would have to be Rob.
He'll be the wrong direction.
That's right. I think Boulder's on the way to Sarasota.
He can take his moving there.
He might need it.
So we just need to add in about the replacement.
Yes.
Okay, I'll add that to
Yeah.
the agenda. Okay.
Okay, anything else on that? 9.01, future agenda presentations and events to attend. Okay, Gretchen has some things written down here. Art show, you already talked about the art show. And the Rose Awards are May 1st at the Doubletree Hotel at 4 p.m.
Probably gone then.
Who is all going to be there? You?
I'm
gonna be in Wisconsin.
Oh, that's a good state. That's my home.
I'll be there.
Yep, there you go. I'm assuming Matt is. And
Matt is.
And Matt is, okay. MSBA Leadership Summit is June 4th through the 5th at Tantera. I'm assuming you'll need something.
The sooner you register, you get a hotel room at Tantera. So let me know right away. Even if it's no, let me know, and then I'll know not to register you either. So right now, I only have 1 board member attending. That's Keith Pender. And then I would also need to know if you're spending the 9/2 or not.
June
Yeah, I'll
4th
move
and
it on.
5th?
4th and 5th.
Anybody from down there going? Rob?
No, it's Thursday.
Coming back from Florida?
Wait a minute, the night is.
After you pick up Nick.
It's Saturday, Sunday.
4th and 5th.
Well, depending on if you register earlier.
Saturday, Sunday.
Well, unless you want to leave at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I got it.
You should Friday night and
I get what
Saturday.
you're saying.
All right. Okay, we'll get that information to Gretchen. Anything else? All right, let's adjourn the meeting.